everyone doing tonight? That's good. You guys seem like a good crowd. I don't understand how you can be anti-vax and eat McDonald's. Because like if you think about it, McDonald's and vaccines are very much alike. You know? Like they're both made in a lab. They're both shit frozen. They both cause autism. I was profiled recently. And, you know, looking like me, it's kind of hard to get profiled. But I was walking down the street and there was this homeless man sitting. And in front of me, there were three very clearly affluent white women. And I overheard the homeless man turn to these women and be like, hey, do you guys have any money? Can you guys please spare anything? I just need anything. And then I'm about to pass him, look him in the eye and say, sorry, I don't have anything. And as I'm passing, we make eye contact and he turns to me and says, hey man, you got any food? That's one of the meanest things that's ever happened to me, honestly. And the worst part, he was right, I had a Snickers bar in my backpack. That was for me later, no. The worst part is it happened twice. I was once again walking down the street. It's where these things happen. And I make eye contact with this man walking towards me, and once again, we make eye contact, and immediately I know, oh fuck. And he kind of like D's me up a little bit. He stops, he doesn't let me pass. And then I take my AirPod out, and I'm like, hey, what's up, man? And he's like, hey, I'm a veteran, I'm ex-Navy SEAL, just underwent surgery. He shows me this gnarly scar on his back. And he's like, look, I just need $250 to get to Fort Worth. Now, I'm an immigrant, and I'm an idiot. So when he said Fort Worth, I was like, Florida? I don't know if you guys have ever seen like a homeless man confused. He looked at me like I was the insane one. No, I just need $250 to get to Fort Worth. Can you give me anything? And like I had no cash. I was like, hey man, I'm sorry, I don't have anything. And then he turns to me and is like, hey, across the street there's a convenience store with an ATM. You know, you can give me anything. And then I'm like, sorry man, I don't have anything. And then, like, almost in a bipolar rage, he turns to me and he's like, where'd you get all the money for the fucking cookies then? You fucking fat bitch, and then leaves. And then, like, I just have to take that, you know? Because that's the worst part. He is bigger than me. Like, he's objectively fatter than me. So, like, how can he not get to Fort Worth and afford those cookies, bro? Like, come on. No, but I've been depressed lately. And you know, I go to a therapist. And I told my therapist I've been having, like, you know, negative thoughts and stuff like that. And my therapist turned to me and she was like, you know, you should start trying to have positive thoughts because studies show that people that have more positive thoughts are generally happier. That's my favorite type of study, like a study that proves nothing but the obvious. You know? Like I've never walked down the street and seen a man smiling, just like, you know, jingling his keys or whatever, and thought, that's a man thinking about death. He's thinking about his mother dying of cancer. Everything's going wrong for that guy. No, as I said, I've been kind of depressed lately, and you know, I told my therapist that, and when I'm depressed, I binge eat. And the therapist turned to me and she was like, Bruno, why do you binge eat? What causes you to turn to food when you're depressed? And you know, remembering the lesson from last week, thinking positive, you know, positive thoughts, I decided to, you know, try to put a positive spin on it. So I was like, well, I just think it makes it harder to hang. Like, think about it, okay? It's easy to hang when you're 180. When you're 280, it's kind of tougher, you know? Like, that's, like, you gotta find a really strong banister, really thick tree, okay? Like, just thinking about buying this rope, I'm already tired, honestly. Like, hanging it up there, like, I'm exhausted. No, but I have reasons to be depressed. My dating life is not going that well. Went out with this girl, I was on the third date with this girl. We had just finished having sex. When you finish having sex with someone, you know, there's always like the little, you know, the pillow talk afterwards. And, you know, we're kind of talking a little bit, and then she turns to me and she's like, can I be honest with you? And I was like, that's the worst thing you could have said. she followed me on and goes, I'm surprised how much I enjoyed having sex with you. And I was like, why would you say that? And she's like, almost like explaining herself. It's like, well, because my ex-boyfriend was bigger than you. And I was like, why the fuck would you say that? And then she was like, well, I thought this was going fine. It's like, it's not going fine anymore. And then she's like, well, you're a comedian. I thought you'd find it funny. I'm like, no, this is not funny to me. I'm just hurt. My feelings are hurt right now. And then she's like, no, you should look at a picture of my ex-boyfriend. You'll think this is funny. And I'm like, I'm not going to think this is funny. They're not showing me a picture of your ex-boyfriend. I don't want to see it. 2 minutes later, I'm standing up. I got one ball out. She's topless, holding her phone. And I'm just yelling at her, I do not want to see a picture of your ex-boyfriend. Do not show it to me. And she's like, just look at it. And then eventually I'm like, okay, fine. Just show it to me. And she turns her phone around, and it's a picture of her hugging a little person. And the only reason I didn't start crying immediately was that he happened to be black. I went to a memorial recently. And I've never been to a memorial before. And so I turned to my friend and I was like, hey, what should you wear to a memorial? Like, what do you wear? And he was like, look, just go dressed like it was your father's funeral. So I didn't show up. No, these next two stories will prove my dad wasn't around. You guys remember the pandemic, right? Life-changing, life-altering for everyone, I think. And during the pandemic, I think everyone went kind of crazy a little bit, you know? And whenever I talk to someone, I always feel like they tell me their craziest story, like their lowest at the pandemic. I called it the peak pandemic degeneracy moment. And I was thinking about what mine was. And this is that story. I matched with a girl on Tinder. And I go over to her house, I'm wearing a mask. I was being a good COVID boy. And then I knock on her door, I walk in, and then I'm about to take my mask off, because I'm inside now. And she's like, could you keep that on? And I'm like, yeah, I could keep this on, yeah, whatever, And starts going well, we start fooling around, and I pull out my trusty condom, and then she's like, there's gonna be no need for that. So she's in all fours, I got a mask on, no condom. Because in 2020, AIDS wasn't a problem, but COVID was a real issue. No, Tinder, I had a few misadventures with Tinder during the pandemic. During the pandemic, I matched with this other girl on Tinder, and we matched, we talked, she seemed nice, she talked like a normal person, and then we agreed to meet like normal people do, and I arrive at the restaurant, just expecting a normal date, and then as I walk out, there she is, and there he is. Now, I'm horny enough where I'm like, I can do a threesome tonight. Like, this is in the tables, like there is a threesome in my future, I can do this. So we walk into the restaurant and we're talking, and it's my opinion that when you're doing a threesome with two strangers, you kind of want to get to know them a little bit, establish a rapport, what's up? And I'm trying to talk to this guy, and he's not engaging with me. Like, I don't think this guy thinks we're about to have sex with this girl together. He's not engaging. And then eventually he goes to the bathroom, and I just turn to her, I'm like, hey, what's up with the guy? And then she's like, well, it's a thing we have. And I'm like, what thing? She's like, well, he likes to watch. And I'm horny enough where I'm like, yes, we can do that tonight. This is in the cards. So we go back to her apartment, and I swear to God, as soon as she opens the door to her room, this man beelines it into her closet. Door shut. That's the moment. That's the moment right there. I walked into that room, I watched enough porn where I was like, okay, Michael Jordan moment right here. Okay, flu game, I'm about to ruin this man's career in front of him. Okay, there's nothing that's gonna stop me. I'm doing things for this man that I haven't done for any woman, honestly. I'm picking her up and shit. I'm doing all the moves. I'm doing that weird thing in porn where you got the camera right here. I'm doing this right in front of the closet. So you can see, you guys getting a full shot of everything. After we both finish, I I go back to my place because, sleeping in a bed of a man in the closet is too much for me. And days go by. 3 days later, I get a text from them. It just says, text from her actually. It just says, we had a great time. He really wants to see you again. So I guess it worked, Anyway, guys, thank you very much. That was my time. I'm bringing back up to the stage your host, Brian.